The only constant in e-commerce is change. You still can't lose sight of the errors. You can't lose sight of your site performance because once it's done, it's never just done. Things change and things evolve. And like I said, lots of things happen to you, not by you. And therefore you need to have that visibility. That said, you will always have the pressure to look forward.
Hey folks, super excited for another episode with Matt Lawson from Noibu. For those that have been following Noibu for a long time knows Matt's one of our earliest customers and advocate. And on this show, we're talking all about how Noibu has executed the perfect evolution to going from a point solution in error monitoring to an e-com analytics and monitoring platform. And we'll talk about what that means and how, as our customers' use cases expanded, so did our product. Super excited for you folks to listen to the podcast today. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce toolbox expert's perspective. We have a very different episode today. We have a repeated guest on the show, Mr. Matt Lawson. So Matt, why don't you give yourself a brief intro?
Hello, great to be here again. Love chatting. So I'm Matthew. I'm the Chief Digital Officer at Ribble Cycles. So my responsibility is always everything all technology for Ribble, from performance marketing right down to development, to tech, to pretty much anything with a computer, including the printers. And so I'm also responsible for the creation of the demand, but also the fulfillment of that demand. So quite a broad remit. So yeah.
Very cool. So this episode is going to be part of our series with customers. So Matt knows one of our top initiatives this year is to reframe Noibu in the market. So for most of you that have heard of us before or are customers, you bought us for a very specific reason, and that reason changes over time as our product evolves. So I'm going to flip it to Matt to maybe talk a bit about why he initially purchased Noibu, when, and as kind of we went from the crazy 2020 COVID eras to now, how his business needs really changed and how that potentially influenced what he was looking for in tools. So Matt, I'll flip it to you.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's take a time machine and go back. So we've been using Noibu for well over 5 years now. So a good while. And the original objective for me was we were on a journey. We were on a journey of a site migration. We're going to do a replatform. Part of that replatform is I'm going to change the front end and do all these things. And we had a conversation, I remember it with you, Kaylin, is that we wanted to do some things, we agreed that we're going to do some proof of concepts. And what was exciting is that effectively you were able to give me a priority order of all the things that I could fix on my website. Because I already had Google Analytics, I already had Logs.io, I already had some sort of session replays, but also had customer service. I had all these things telling me things to fix, but I never had a priority order. And you said, oh, I can give you one. You'll tell me the size of the price. And I thought, brilliant. We put the proof of concept live. And we were even just midway through that proof of concept. You phone me up, go, Matt, I normally wait till the end of the proof of concept, but there's something that you need to fix today that happened today. And what had happened was one of our payment gateways had changed something with how they were handled third-party cookies. So on one browser, Safari, conversion stopped. What that said to me was Noibu was able to detect a behavioral change, a drop in conversion caused by an issue that a customer had experienced. That just resonated with me that you were able to see things. We patted ourselves on the back, we fixed it, we put the tool live, and I was presented again with series of bugs and issues on my website that I needed to get away and fix. And so, what do we do? We looked at those issues, we prioritized the order, and we went through and tried to fix them all together. Again, what did I do? I thought, actually, they've already proven to me that Noibu can detect issues with errors, and there is an impact to customer conversion. So let's go after it. And what I did was I crammed all the issues into one release. It took us a couple of sprints, crammed them all together, released them all together. Let's see what it did. And what did we feel? We actually felt a bump in conversion. We saw conversion grow by about 4% on the day of that release. So we were really excited. We're did I connect the dots to the value that was presented in Noibu versus to the value that I generated through the fixes? Didn't really care because I've ultimately just did a 4% conversion win from doing some fixes. And this is given me an opportunity to drive value, and Again, the tool that I bought was there to give me visibility of errors. I actually put my website in code freeze at that point because I was meant to be building this new website. And one thing I didn't appreciate as much as I do today that I didn't do then was how much third parties impact conversion without me doing anything at all. So during that time, I had my payment gateway break. I had A/B testing platform brick itself on Safari, kind of awkward conversations because ultimately it's pretty important that I test on Safari. We had our live chat introduce all the errors since the beginning of time. You couldn't even move your cursor around the screen without errors being flying through into the console. So, these are things that our third parties are doing to us. What was interesting about that, I was able to share the issues with the third party. I probably got one of the best responses I've ever had from a third party, because usually it's time to have a bum fight. It's your code, no, it's your code, no, it's your code, back and forth, back and forth. And I was able to give them the same access to that one issue. And they gave me the reason why it was released, the fix that was put in place. I promise it will never happen again. And this is me saying nothing. During that time, if one of the guys from the trading team come to me and say, Matt, I think there's a problem on the website, I probably would have said no, because ultimately I haven't done any releases. The website's been mothballed. It's there. It's on the shelf. I'm working on the new website. So these things are happening to us, not by us. And again, the visibility and the tool is there to give me that protection on that. And when we went live with the new website, the question I had was, Matt, have you done enough testing? Have you done those things? And you're like, I don't know. I hope I have. And that pressure builds. Matt, you said I can't have any new features on the new website, on the old website. I've got to wait for the new website. So you're okay, right? I'm going to have to at some point bite the bullet and push this thing live. We did. And it's one of the reasons why I've got a grey beard, is that deployment on that day was catastrophic. Ultimately, my conversion rate dropped by 10% on the day. Luckily, I've still got a job at Ribble because, fundamentally, what did we do? We did what we normally do. We listened to customer service. We looked in Google Analytics. But more importantly, we looked at what was bubbling up in Noibu. And Noibu was flagging to me new issues that I'd never seen before. And we just whack-a-mole. When it came up, we did it. We fixed it. We pushed it out. After about 3 weeks, the conversion rate on my new website was better than my old website. If I didn't have the visibility into the tool that I had today, I'd probably still have that little guy on my shoulder telling me there's a problem in the checkout, Matt. Anyone in e-commerce who hasn't got that telling you there's a problem, then obviously they're doing something wonderful. And that's these are the things that you want, that reassurance. You want that guardian angel to know that your site is performing, especially going into key trading periods. That's where what Noibu is brilliant at. As we roll forward, though, you get to a place where you are able to optimize your site, you are fixing the issues, and you're looking forward. And the value of our customers is around the site needs to be performant. And what is performant? There's multiple factors to drive performance, and there's different lenses that get applied from a business perspective. From a technical perspective, you don't want errors, you don't want bugs. From a user journey perspective, you want it to feel intuitive to the customers need to find what they need to find. You've got trading teams to want to make sure that they got the right products on there. And ultimately, you want it to feel, you want it to be fast. So there's different people having different pressures and different views on what is performant. And what's been helpful is the evolution of the tool to help me stay on the pulse. So I was set the objective by my boss to make the fastest website in the cycling industry. Yeah, okay, brilliant. Thanks for that.
If you're listening to the e-commerce toolbox, you're entitled to a podcast exclusive website audit. Go to noibu.com/podcast-audit for a free scan that uncovers the hidden friction blocking your conversions and shows you where you're leaking revenue.
I thought it was okay. You're obviously not happy. I thought, okay, we're okay, but let's make it good. And we looked at Noibu. Noibu has a different lens. It tracks all performance, not error performance, but site performance from a speed perspective. And it gave me the breakdown of all the different things I can do to make the website faster. What's more important for me, it gave me a target. What is good and what is the best? And me being competitive, I had a target. Ultimately, I wanted to go after it. And by page type, we went page by page, feature by feature, recommendation, more importantly, from Noibu in regards to the tool of the things that I should be fixing, from largest content paint to CLS issues to time to first byte. We chipped away at it. And I wouldn't say it was a quick job, because there's lots of things that we could optimize, but we did it. We achieved it. We managed to make the website get past the Noibu blue line and become the best that they've seen. And I'm really excited about that achievement, because not only are we able to track it, we're able to see it. But again, the difference in the challenge that we've got, and any business faces, is that I've got to move on to another project. The pressure for me is to move on to other things. I'm getting told, right, I need you to do some checkout stuff. I need to do some product page enhancements. What it's doing is then being, again, that check and balance to say to me, well, Matt, you're slowing down. There's something changed. And we had it. The homepage started to flag that our site started to slow down. And what it had been is that we started to change the customer journey by putting in new, bigger images that hadn't been optimized, and we were able to pick at it. And we ultimately got the alerting for me to jump back into the site speed project to fix it, to get it back to best. That's really powerful for me. And not only that, the other things that evolved during the time is Black Friday. Black Friday is a key trading period. We want to make sure the website's fast. We want to make sure that there's no errors. I'm ticking those boxes. I'm checking those things. We've got the things and the visibility of doing it. But what was also quite interesting is we have key landing pages and key journeys. And they were saying, what's happening with the people that are landing on the page? How far are they getting down the page? What can we do to improve that journey? Again, Noibu. I went into Noibu. We've got our heat maps. We've got our scroll reach. We've got our click journey paths. And what we were finding was we were seeing people land on the page, but not necessarily get into the categories that we wanted to. So what we did was we introduced new navigational blocks into the page that got them from that landing page in deeper into the category pages. And the drop-off rate from the exit rate from the page dropped day on day as we had immediately added. And the scroll reach of the following pages improved. We were able to demonstrate that into the trading team and say, look, this is what we were doing. This is what we've done. And this is the result that we've been able to deliver. That's performance, and that's what we're able to do and drive from the visibility that we get from the tool. It's becoming more and more like a one-stop shop. There's plenty more to go after it, and I feel like that's where the value of performance, when it comes from my perspective, is that I've got to keep the guys focused on what is important to the business, and that's driving conversion, making every session matter.
Matt, that's amazing for you to summarize it like that. It's multi-years, and it's very rare. Your business kind of followed a similar trajectory as Noibu, and we kind of helped inform each other. So initially, when you guys signed with us in like 2020, it was the land of the replatforming. Everyone's getting kicked off Magento 1 and everyone's going to Magento 2. So bugs was like top priority. And then we started going into the era of headless and redoing the front end, where bugs was still super powerful, right? This is like 2020 to 2022. Then we saw in like 2023, 2024, it was like, hey, we're done with the replatformings. Now we got to make this thing fast. So it's like the first layer of the pyramid was done, and then the next layer of the pyramid is performance. So you mentioned that you started using Noibu to make your website best in class fast. Great. Then what we started to hear from our customers, the third stage, is what you just described, which is customer journeys, navigation, which is really the derivative of like heat maps. And as you kind of gone through that business transformation yourself, that's where we have gone as well. And to your point, the errors business is not the core focus of our business anymore. We still support those use cases, and that's still where we're investing, but we know that different customers are on different life cycles. And we call it stabilize and innovate. Stabilize is bugs, performance, speed, making sure things are working. And then innovate is A/B testing, different marketing campaigns, layout, UI, UX. And we want to support people throughout that entire journey. And that's really the path that we've been going down. And I feel like our listeners want to hear it from you more than me, but I think you gave it such a perfect summary of kind of how your business evolved and how Noibu kind of evolved with your business.
Oh, 100%. You know, and I think it's important that, you know, the only constant in e-commerce is change. And that is very much about just staying on what not necessarily the themes, but where the value is. But, you know, ultimately, you still can't lose sight of the errors. You can't lose sight of your site performance, because once it's done, it's never just done. Things change and things evolve. And like I said, lots of things happen to you, not by you. And therefore, you need to have that visibility. That said, you will always have the pressure to look forward how I'm going to drive the next thing. And what I'm excited about is how do we evolve that to be what is the next thing? Because it's not just about the generic journey, it's about the segmented journeys. And it's not about who the customer is what are their absolute objectives and what they're trying to buy. So like product segmentation, customer segmentation, on top of just journeys, that's where the power of where the focus will be for the future. But you can't do that until you've got your basics in place. So you're right, in regards to that foundation, I hadn't thought about it like that, but fundamentally, you're right. You've got to have solid foundations, or you're just chuffing around with the fancy bits at the top and it'll all fall down in the end. You've got to have your basics right.
Exactly. And that's where we're seeing the market now. And you need a reliable, stable website that's fast. And then on the back of that, you will innovate. And what we're starting to see is that people that innovate too much sometimes end up back in the stabilized period. And that's where we're really seeing the power of the full platform. So Matt, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And yeah, it's been amazing catching up with you. Thanks again.
No, perfect. Very good.
The e-commerce toolbox Expert Perspectives is brought to you by Noibu. To find out more about Noibu and how we can help you debug your e-commerce site and rocket your revenue, visit www.noibu.com. That's Noibu.com. And then make sure to search for the e-commerce toolbox Expert Perspectives on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and click subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Noibu, thanks for listening.